Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Blindsiders. I'm Brian and I'm joined as always by Dylan. Dylan, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? Yes, as the people on YouTube will notice, it's just the two of us. We have finally forced Ben out of the podcast after me trying for a solid year, and here we are. Now we get
Yeah.
now we get the wild Survivor reviews.
Yeah, so Ben, a little under the weather today, so he won't be joining us, so it's just going to be Dylan and I. And Dylan, what'd you think about this episode of Survivor 43?
Good episode with a lot of very bad gameplay. I think the one positive is that I do feel like we finally have kind of fleshed out the type of players everybody are, so that's cool. Yeah, I liked it. Another good installment on a season of that's been pretty good altogether so far. I'm just not sold that there are a whole lot of good players. We'll discuss, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Just another. The season just keeps on going along. I think they're at a really good pace right now. It's funny and there's good drama. I'm liking it a lot.
Yeah, so Boys Fall 2022 is over.
Yeah,
We lost our
unfortunately.
first guy. Gio had to go. And if it wasn't going to be Gio, it was looking like it was going to be Ryan because neither one of them played particularly well. Dylan, I have to ask. The knowledge is power advantage. Can we just trash this? It's over, right?
Yeah, I hope so. Part of me feels like it's gonna maybe pop up one more time this season. But yeah, just a straight up just cursed advantage.
So cursed, so
Especially
bad.
cursed when you tell someone about it for no reason. Yeah, it's I don't know. I was very satisfied with it. I think it was last season. How did it go down again last season? I forget because it was snuffed out. Because I do like the way that it was snuffed out last season. I did like the season before that when Leanna tried to get Xander out. That was terribly played by her, and I was rooting for Xander in that situation. So that was a plus for me too. But the I can't even remember. I can't remember who had it last season.
Did it not get played last?
No, someone tried to play it, and then but the other people
tried to steal it from Mike. Yeah,
Mike. Yeah.
Tried to steal his idol. Yep. So same thing happened where it didn't go through. Was that also Lindsay? Was that her name? Oh my god, there's too many Survivor contestants.
Sure.
Yeah, she tried to steal it, didn't work.
Yeah, he gave it to Omar,
and
Omar gave it back to him, right?
Yeah.
Is that yep.
Yeah. So they're able to get around that. So it hasn't worked either time. It didn't even get a chance to not work this season. Like you said, maybe it will come back. It probably will, right? It feels like something they want to get a moment out of.
I guess it's such an overpowered advantage too that I've never been a fan of it. I do kind of like some of the scenarios like that we just discussed that come up with someone being able to snuff it out, especially the way it worked last season was very satisfying and well done. But I don't know. It all goes back to like also people just not being able to stop telling everyone about their advantages and idols, which happens several times in this episode. And it's just I don't know. It did lead to a really it did lead to I'm just casually burping on air. This is what we do now when Ben's not here.
It's not here. It's off the rails.
It did lead to what felt like an old school type blindside, which was nice. Because part of me going into the tribal too, I will talk about it later, but I genuinely wasn't 100% sure how it was going to go. So as a viewer, that was cool. But yeah, I think almost for sure we'll see it again. And I was also reading an article before that was like quoting a podcast that Jeff was on that I guess like they don't even allow the players to take these home as souvenirs anymore. I don't know how true that is, but I guess like they're still stockpiling them to maybe do another ghost island with all the poor idols.
Yeah,
it might just literally just be knowledge is power island. It's just gonna be the whole season of whoever could properly play it first wins the season. So I don't know how true that is, but so I almost think it's a lock that we'll definitely see it again. Whether it's this season, I don't know, but yeah, I hope it's done. I hope we're done with it.
Yeah, and that's so funny. They're just like, oh, it was really annoying to track these all down. Last time we did Ghost Island, so not happening. We're keeping these. That's very funny. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of surprising to me just because we, spent the last 2 seasons on the podcast being like, the knowledge is power advantage only works when you keep it to yourself, really. And you would think that the player getting it would have listened to, not saying, oh, they should listen to our podcast. Well, of course they should listen to our podcast, but I'm sure we're not the only ones who pointed out that the real power of this advantage is keeping it to yourself. So it is surprising to me that Gio, in his preparation for Survivor, I guess didn't get that memo.
Yeah, for a season that has so many people claiming that they're Survivor super fans, there's just so there is, and I think it plays into what I've said before, that I do think once you're finally in like the prime time and the bright lights, I think things can probably get a little hazy for you, and you start doing wacky things, especially when you're on an island, not eating like as much as you normally do, not sleeping like you normally do. So I'm not gonna hold people like, because I imagine I would go into Survivor. Being like, I'm going to play the best possible game I can. I'm not going to tell anybody about any of my advantages. I'm going to look safely when I can. I'm going to vote smart. And then, like, obviously you get in the moment, and I'm sure it gets like I said, it gets very hazy. But you just got to stop telling everyone what's going on, because it's at the point now that it's by far, especially in the newer seasons, it's by far less beneficial to tell people about your advantages, to make them think that you trust them and they trust you, than it would be to just hold it on to yourself. It just doesn't make any sense. Like the theory behind it being that you think that obviously you're just gaining trust with your tribe, as we saw 2 times in this episode with Baka and Coco. The people that were getting it telling the other people immediately bit them in the butt. So just be quiet. That's like the one thing, if I ever go in Survivor, just keep your mouth shut. And also, like,
shut up.
It didn't show him telling Ryan, who I assumed was his closest ally too, who I also think has been had a really, really, I think Ryan had probably the worst episode, even with Gio getting voted out.
Yeah, even though he stayed, it was still real bad.
Yeah, so I don't know. I had Gio in my pool too, so it was tough for me. But I knew after last week of him thinking that he was in charge, I knew that was the end of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to talk more about them when we get there, because I do have a lot to say about those two.
Yep.
But yeah, we can talk about Baka, because they were really the other tribe. Did we even get a Vessi?
I don't think so. No,
I don't think we did. Right? Yeah. So.
Only when Jesse went back to the camp to open up his that's it.
And that's it. So it really did seem like they were setting Baka up to be the tribe to go to tribal council.
For sure.
So I was a little surprised that they weren't. But, finally we got an idol find, and it all comes back to Gabler, right? For some reason, they don't think Gabler knows that his idol can be played. So all the plans of this tribe are like being surrounded around Gabler and being able to vote him off, which is very interesting to me. And I wish that they did lose immunity, because I wish that we got to see what was going to happen when. Now we just know Gabler won't be the merge boot, which is,
maybe we'll see. We'll see if he's the Lydia boot this year.
Yeah, well, I think his idol expires at the next tribal council he goes to,
right.
so
You're
he'll play it. I would
right.
assume, especially.
True.
But I thought we were setting up for a comedic moment with the two girls. We're so like focused in on being like, no, Gabler doesn't know that this is happening, but apparently that's not going to happen, so it doesn't matter. But they find the immunity, or the Beware Advantage immunity, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, and it was a very like funny moment, because I don't know if it was edited this way, because of course they weren't on screen, but they're saying, oh, we can't tell Owen, poor Owen, this man just wants to work with these two girls. That's all he cares about. And they're like, no, absolutely not. So what do you think of this scene with Owen walking up, and then how did the two girls adjust to it, in your opinion?
I do agree. I don't get why. I mean, I think Owen more so wants to just be able to have two different options rather than he wants to strictly work with them. I don't get why he would want to go with them at this point, just because the two girls have by far done the more scheming, like almost out in the open with the tribe against Gabler, to the point that like I feel like I couldn't trust him. And I feel like the duo with Sammy and Gabler is a little bit stronger at this point. But I do think it's smart to obviously keep your options open. It is funny because he was literally the one person they didn't want to show. And they have a lot of trust in Sammy for some reason that I still am trying to figure that out. Sammy's playing a much better game than I would have thought he was after the first episode. But Owen's I mean, I like almost everybody left in this game. Owen's a player that I really do like, and I said in the beginning, I feel like we've kind of fleshed out the type of players everyone is going to be. I think Owen may be the one exception that I'm still trying to figure out what Owen's game is going to be in the end, because
I'm still trying to figure out what he did to not be in their plans.
Yeah.
Like, Janine and Ellie are like, no, fuck Owen. Like, we don't want him anywhere near us. And I don't know, he seems like such a nice guy.
I think they probably have the assumption that the viewers do too, that he's going to be, that he is a good player. So I think maybe that's why. But that, yeah, I don't know. I do think it's Ellie and Janine, right? It's Ellie, yeah, Ellie.
Yep.
I do think that they think that they're playing a much stronger game than they are. They're not playing as bad as a game as like Ryan and Gio were, but
right.
Yeah, I am. It's probably. I mean, we're gonna get a merge, so I guess it's gonna kind of be kaput in the end, probably. But
Yeah.
I really would have liked to seen that whole thing play out with Gabler and Sammy and Owen kind of caught in the middle, because I do think in the end Sammy is 100% with Gabler, and then obviously Ellie and Gene are 100% together. So Owen, theoretically was the swing vote. So I do wish we would have saw that. Potentially though, with the knowledge that he has, it could be a big part. Once we get into a merge, because he is someone that I can see clinging on to another alliance.
Yeah, well, it's just going to be very interesting because now, like, the bad blood between them and Gabler is, like, not out in the open, but, like, Gabler knows that they don't want to work with him, which is what Sammy was trying to accomplish. They're kind of probably going to be forced to work with Owen, even though they don't trust him, just because who else are they going to work with? But it's going to be a fascinating merge for that, and I'm excited for that. But I like I said, I was surprised that we didn't get them at tribal council. I really thought it was setting them up.
I did too.
To be the tribe that lost.
I did too, and it's funny now. Who would have thought we would go into the merge with Baca having the numbers too?
Right.
That's another interesting part too, to see if they all five of them work together. So I think for me that's the most interesting tribe going into the merge for sure. What were your thoughts on Sammy giving up the bead though? That's like the one thing that I'm like kind of mixed on, and I saw on Reddit too that people were saying, well, obviously he just wants to be able to get on the side of Janine and Ellie to be able to play that, but I mean, I don't know if you somehow hold that off, anyway, even if you don't have the time to tell Gabler, you're taking the vote out of someone else's hands. Even if even if you can play it off in a way that, I just don't want to give this beat up, because then you potentially make Janine look like the crazy one for trying to take the one beat you don't want to give up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's in such a good spot with them that there's no way he could have. Because the only thing he could have done is gone to Gabler and been like, yo, don't give any beads to her. But because he's in such a good spot, he can't blow his spot up by holding out for the bead. So I guess, like, in some respects, at least he knows who has the idol, and like he's in on everything in this tribe. Surprisingly, like you said, I didn't think a 19-year-old was going to be this, well positioned either, but he really seems to be like a talented player.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, we saw Ellie's for sure the one that really has the trust in him.
Mhm.
immediately telling him about Genie's idol too. It's
Yeah.
it is interesting because, like you said, Owen's been desperately trying to work with them, and they
Yeah,
just want none to
it's
do it.
crazy.
And Sammy's just like, yeah, whatever. And then they're just
Mhm.
immediately running over and telling him. It's that's the other thing too. That's the other like thing you got to worry about telling people of your advantages and idols. Obviously, is you obviously need to worry about other people going and telling other people that you didn't want to know. And so that's
Yeah.
like just stop telling everyone. I get like obviously you found it with Ellie. I don't know. That's one thing that like it really does bother me is the constant. We're not, we won't spend all this time on it, but it is like the constant just everyone telling everybody about advantages. It's like it's almost to
Mhm.
the point where it's getting old because it is things like the knowledge is power advantage. It is overpowered, but maybe if that wasn't the norm for everyone to immediately tell everyone, maybe we could see that advantage somehow play out in a decent
Mhm.
way. But I don't know. It's
No,
so
they're all
overplayed.
too excited. They're all too hyped to be on Survivor, I guess,
Yeah.
in some ways. But yeah, that's really all for Baka. I mean, we can go the immunity challenge. It's whatever. It came down to a race, and so Dylan, I thought I heard this right, but I could have been wrong. Was Ryan saying he threw the challenge?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like another like topic that was kind of debated on Reddit too was whether he was just saying that to make it look like he lost. The only reason he lost was
Mm,
because he threw it. I
yeah.
think he did. Once again, Ryan by far had the worst episode out of anybody.
Yeah.
His stock completely plummeted for me. Uh,
Mm,
like it kind of looked like that he did throw it only because that one throw that knocked all the balls off was such a bad throw that it almost
mm,
seems like the only way he could have done that was intentionally. But wild move too, because even last week, I guess James talked about it too. That when they pulled in Ryan, it was to get his trust with when they
mm,
voted out Lindsay. So like a good move by them because clearly he thought he was super safe. But I'm against throwing challenges at any point, just because
mm.
I hate that. Both just being a competitor and just I think that even strategically, I feel like it's just it just sucks. Because obviously you win the challenge, you don't got to go to a vote. And
Yeah.
obviously I know
Can't
there's
get voted off if you're not at tribal, so.
I know there's a reason like you want to throw it if you're locked in, think you have the numbers. I guess which Ryan did, sure,
Mm,
and you want to get out a problematic player that's somebody that's going to screw up your game down the line, whatever. But I'm
mm.
still always against it. But yeah, I guess that's why he said he did it. I also noticed too. This was the challenge that Missy broke her or messed up her ankle on too.
Yeah, I was saying that to Jenny when we were watching it. I was like, I'm surprised they did this again, considering the one time I can remember them doing it, someone broke their
Yeah,
ankle. Like,
and that
seems very unnecessary.
that puppy's still slapping down to the floor too. So
Yeah, that seems unsafe. I don't know what they're doing there, but yeah, I mean, I guess I get if Ryan's like convinced he's in the numbers, he wants to throw it, but like on the other hand, is Cassidy like someone worth throwing a challenge to get
yeah,
out?
yeah, exactly. Because
Like,
I mean, no, I don't think she is.
yeah, I don't think so
There's
either.
especially no reason to when you know the numbers are getting down, you're going to have a merge sooner rather than later.
Mm,
No, I don't think so at all. Too, because even going into this, as a viewer, we barely had seen her speak up until this episode. And so
right.
no, I don't think so. I think what happened is exactly what it seemed like happened, which was that Ryan just thought he was a much better spot and he was much cockier than he should have been, both him and Gio. And
Yeah.
it is very satisfying to see that go. This if you're someone that has no reason to be that comfortable, it is very satisfying to see it by you in the butt.
This was a great episode for people who like to, like myself, see cocky people get,
Mhm.
blindsided. What did you think of Ryan's like strategy of being like, no one talked to me, pretend to going home, and then like when Cassidy was coming over, which I think genuinely Cassidy was gonna be like, Ryan, let's just vote out Geo. Like, don't worry about it. And he just immediately was like, it's fine, you can vote me off. It's fine. Like, what did you think of that?
It brought me back to my boy Zane. I'm playing
Yeah, it's
playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Once again, Ryan, bad episode. Don't like it. His stock is plummeted. He's probably towards the bottom for me now in terms of players. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
not good, especially now his one strong ally is out. It didn't even seem like they really schemed together that much either.
No.
Not at all. They seemed like they liked each other and they were like, yeah, we'll vote together. Great. Yeah, I'm bad, dumb. It's all the above. Like I said, a lot of bad gameplay in this episode too. I think that tribe. I'm glad that we got more of Cassidy. I like her a little bit more. But with that tribe too, clearly Carla and James were running things there. I think that they were the two best players on that team too. I think Carla's going to go far for sure. I think that she's my favorite as of right now, probably to win. I don't think there's anybody else that has shown socially that they're going to be able to pull things together and be strategic like Carla is. My one complaint with Carla and James though is that I do think that Cassidy was in the right being as worried as she was because unlike Lindsay, she knew for a fact votes were going to be coming her way. So I would be a little more upset if I were her as well. And I think that they kind of have to do a better job, Carla and James, because I think that they're a really solid duo. They got to do a better job of making their alliance feel comfortable. Because that's 2 episodes, and they were like, obviously, we're getting Lindsay all over again. And I'm like, well, yeah, but then now the variable is obviously you two. You got to make them believe truly that you're with them. And even then, obviously, knowing now that Gio has the advantage, like the smart move was to go after Gio. That was the correct move here. But they could have just said, you know what, yeah, we'll do Gio now. We'll do Ryan next time. No, like absolutely no problem. So I don't agree that they're them saying that she was just acting like Lindsay again. I think she had a legit reason to be worried because she knew for sure there were votes coming her way and that Gio had an advantage.
Right.
She didn't know for sure what that was. So, but other than that, I really like that duo, James and Carla. I really like the game they're playing. If they can kind of if they can start making their alliances feel a little more comfortable, I think that they're really dangerous.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I guess one of the things that kind of was like sucked the tension out of this episode was like, okay, Gio and Ryan are on the outs. They have an advantage that could potentially save them, maybe, but they are just so snowed. Like they just have no idea. Like it wasn't, oh, is Cassidy or Gio gonna get voted off? It was, did they vote for Gio or did they vote for Ryan? That was the tension of the episode, and it's because neither of them are particularly good. What do you think of just abandoning them in the middle of the ocean in this episode?
I guess that was their version of forcing them to walk up like the hill or mountain like they have previously.
Yeah,
right? And they did make it like very like over dramatic too, like. So that part was fine. And then putting him on like the rockiest pontoon ever. Like that thing was like 180 degrees up in the air at one point. It's funny. It does add like a comedic element to me almost because I think like the days of being like, oh, that's sick, that's badass. It's now and it's just like, I'm sure when you're out there, everybody feels very badass, and it does add another element to like the actual like survivor type feel. But it is funny now, obviously after 43 seasons of seeing the dramatic boat ride. This one did give me kind of a good giggle because it was so pointless. You could have just dropped them off at the island. They just drive.
You would think like, okay, here's a sandbar, like. But no, we needed to see them paddle. It was a weird decision. I'll probably use it in the thumbnail though because it was cool.
Maybe looking. I don't know. Maybe the discussions in camp just weren't there this week.
No, I guess not. So yeah, all 3 players risked their vote, which was surprising to me. I mean, Gio was making no bones about how he was gonna risk his, and I guess none of them were afraid. But now, this whole thing was just like, okay, Gio's gone. He won the advantage, but the advantage is out, and now the other 2 just don't have a vote at this merge vote.
Janine, I don't necessarily agree with her risking it. I think it's a very bold move, and obviously if it pays out for her, then she's in a really good position. But the risk did not the reward did not outweigh the risk in this situation. So I think that was a bad move. Yeah, Jesse, I don't know. I do think that there's another element though, which is kind of contradicting what I just said. That like if you want to go and play, you play, and I guess like this is something you want to play, so you can go big or go home. They're in a bad position though, obviously, because they're going to be on they're on a tribe that will not have the numbers going into the merge, so
Right.
that's not great. But then again, I guess with Baca, it kind of balances out because Janine won't have a vote. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
And then Ryan's probably going to be a free agent. What is going to happen next week?
yeah, it's adding the drama though that I like, and it makes me believe that we're still going in a really positive direction with the season. So even with some of the bad moves, I still think it's overall paying off for us. The viewer.
Yeah, I think the most negative thing was it just reinforced Sammy's like weariness with Janine. He said like, why risk your vote for another event? You just got an idol. Why do you need another advantage? Which, right or wrong, I mean, if that's the outcome of her decision, that's not great.
Yeah, and I like I said, we need to see what kind of game Owen's playing. It is Sammy does seem like he's the one that is obviously he has his eyes open at all times and he's observing. He's observing the people that he wants to vote out. And he's not just like letting it go by. Where Owen, regardless of what's going to happen on either side, Owen's just going to let it slide. And before you know it, Owen might just be on the wrong side of a vote, even if he didn't intend to be. But yeah. So Sam, it's another really good element going into the merge. I am kind of glad they're going into the merge next week. There clearly is a twist of some sort that they showed. It's not going to be the hourglass. We know that for a fact.
Thank God. Yeah.
I am curious of what it will be though.
Yeah. What does Jeff have up his sleeve? One thing I do have to ask, Dylan. Speaking of Sammy, who did a better gritty, Sammy or Mike Gesicki this last weekend?
Oh, I'll never side with the Dolphins.
No. Well, I think that's a safe bet too, because everybody's saying Mike Gesicki had the worst gritty of all time. So, I don't know. I'm loving Sammy. He's a much better player than I thought, and then just his youthfulness is just like so funny. Just how he shoots from the hip at all times. No one's gonna tell him what to do, and it's gonna be a very interesting element in this merge.
And he's playing a decent game. He's not just a fun character to watch. He's playing a decent game. And I like we said, I did not think that after the first episode. So that's good. I mean, I am getting really sick and tired of everyone saying they're a Survivor super fan, fan of Survivor. At this point, everyone is. Stop saying it.
Yeah, right.
It's especially like when you say that and then you do a stupid move. It makes me like you not as much. But Sammy's one of the ones that I think he's generally just happy to be there and he's playing the game, which is I mean they're all happy to be there. Like I said, it's a very likable cast this season. But certain players like Sammy, he's playing really well. Carlo and James are both really playing the game too. I mean, I think that also on Bessie, I think everyone there is playing the game to play.
And I think going into this merge, those four on Bessie are probably the most likely to stick together out of any of the tribes. I think
they have to.
They're bonded, together, and it'll be interesting. So going back to, I guess, Coco post this, I just Gio and Ryan were just real bad. I don't know what else to say about them. I feel like we covered it pretty, in depth, but yeah, just the most interesting thing about Gio being voted out will be how Ryan reacts going into the merge.
Yeah, two bad players that probably were staying in the game longer than they should have because their tribe was strong in challenges. So I guess there really is not a whole lot to say there. I mean, like I said, Ryan is at the bottom for me with players. He's probably below Gabler for me, and I like Gabler. I think he's a nice old, the old guy personality on the show. I just don't think he's playing like a particularly good game. He's kind of just there. He does have Sammy on his team, so that's a plus to him. But Ryan's at the bottom now, and so he is a candidate that could win immunity in physical challenges, so he's got that going for him. So maybe he can figure something out. Vesey seems like the logical choice for him to go to, because they're going to be desperate to get the numbers now, especially with Jesse not having the vote. So I think that will be the direction he goes, but who knows?
Yeah. It's also fun. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and Gabler, the next oldest, he's 52. The next oldest person is James at 37. He's 15 years older than everyone else, at least, who's going to be on the merged tribe. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be more fun fish out of water storytelling coming up with Gabler. But now his, cantankerous and weird at times nature shifts to, well, now I want to sit next to Gabler at the end. Now, I don't necessarily find him as annoying as much as I see him as a path to winning $1 million. So his stock just went up.
Do you think that style of gameplay of taking the sheep to the end is the way to go anymore? Like, do you think that that's still, because I feel like I feel like more so now, it's almost always going to be called out for taking the weaker opponent. I could be wrong. I
think so. I mean, if you don't think someone can get a vote, you got to bring him. And then what's the jury going to say? Oh, you brought him because you knew we wouldn't vote for him.
You're right.
And then you'll just be like, yeah, are you going to vote for him
You're
just
right.
because of that? Like, what are you doing?
It does all depend on what jury you get to. Are you getting a salty jury?
Yeah.
Are you getting a jury that's respecting the game? It really, who knows?
Yeah. I think it's still a good thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm very excited for this post-merge. I think it's going to be really exciting coming down with all these players. It's been a solid season so far, in my opinion. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I think across the board, it seems like everybody's enjoying it. Like I said, I like it more than 41. In hindsight, it probably wasn't the cast of 41's fault. It was for sure the production and them trying out all these new things. But props to production for figure things out. Even with the knowledge is power advantage, still figuring things out, what works and what doesn't. And I mean, we'll see what this twist is. Hopefully, this twist isn't as bad as the hourglass, because obviously, I hated the hourglass.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? At least like Danny is vindicated in retrospect, right? He's won. Spoilers for the challenge. He's the winner of the challenge now, and then they got rid of the hourglass twist. So I'm sure wherever he is, he's happy.
Yeah.
And his Cowboys are 4-2, so can't be better than that for Danny. Dylan, anything else in this episode that we didn't touch on that you wanted to?
No. If you're still sticking around without the structure Ben provides us, kudos to you.
For real.
Glad we get on, Ben. I hope you feel better if you're listening. No, like we said, what we said at the end of every episode so far this season. It's a good episode that keeps the story going, which I really like. I really hope that they stick the landing with the merge, and then after that, they for sure have the players and the personalities to get us through the rest of the season. So I think it really depends on what we get next week with the merge twist. And I mean, I assume there is a merge twist that are like.
Oh, there is. Yeah, they definitely like hyped something up. So.
That will have like a similar impact to the hourglass. It's hopefully not as shitty. So as long as they nail that, I think we're in a really good spot this season for this being one of the better seasons of the past couple of years. So that's good. But no, I just all positives. I'm really glued in now after maybe the first episode or two. I wasn't, even though I liked the show itself. I'm like actually like hooked. And now I learn the tribes and the people's names.
And all the names. Yeah, that's the hard part of these seasons is getting to know everybody.
It's also nice too because I went into the season, completely green. I didn't really read any of the cast bios. We didn't do a cast preview, so it has kind of been like a fun little learning process compared to like I've known everything going into the season the past couple of years. So that's kind of been cool. But yeah, no, I love it. Just keep it up. Nail this ending at the merge, and then. Let this. I know the cast will be able to play a good game for the rest of the season, and we keep those survivor ratings up and keep the show going.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're in good hands there. I think it's solid. But yeah, Dylan, anything you want to plug? Any promotions, anything like that? The floor is yours.
So Brian and I are going to be doing an episode next week
Yes.
for House of the Dragon, the finale. Going to be able to talk about that. Go ahead.
Yep. House of the Dragon is so good that the
Yeah.
Dolphins are playing on Sunday Night Football. I'm gonna record it and watch House of the Dragon live. Like I love this show, Dylan.
Yeah. No. Same. I will talk about it too on the episode we record. I mean, I wasn't as big of a fan of the ending recently. I think the show definitely has its occasional writing issues, only because I also like, not to be that guy. I read Fire and Blood maybe like 2 months before the show aired, because I've read all the Game of Thrones books, but that was the one book I hadn't read yet. So I read that and I loved it. It's a very interesting read, and just 'cause it's so different from the other A Song of Ice and Fire books. So I really like kind of got invested in the story and the characters, and I really think that they've done a really magnificent job with this. And it's also and this is kind of, we're just giving you a little taste for next week's podcast on Wicked Good Show, but it was very important too for that universe that the show was not a complete disaster for obvious reasons, and it definitely is not. I mean, it's crushing ratings. It's appointment TV is for sure back with this. So I can't wait to talk about it. And I knowing what's coming, I'm really excited to see it happen on screen and people react and all that. So I can't wait.
Yeah, right. Oh my, yeah. There's gonna be a big moment in the next episode. Just you all wait. But yeah, no, I can't wait to do that episode, talking about Wicked Good Show and do more episodes of that. Where can they find you online if they want to follow you?
Yeah, DJ Cleverlang on Twitter. I do have a TikTok. I do eventually want to do more TikToks, but for now, just follow Better Radio and Wicked Good everything on TikTok, and follow Brian and all that. He'll give you the handles. But I eventually want to do more TikToks. Yeah. It's all in the plans of trying to do more content, somehow. But yeah, follow me on Twitter at DJ Cleverlang.
Yes, please do. I would suggest, if you do TikToks, use the trends. I'm a fucking idiot, so I just refuse to do any trend stuff, and I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna make my own content. But I feel like the trends are there for a reason, to help people grow. Yeah. I'm just too stubborn to actually ever do anything like that.
Yeah, the singing guy right now is a big one for me. I watch all his videos. The guy that sings all the songs and then they put him in after, Roger Cleat. Well, please tell me you're hip on him. My wife wasn't hip on him. He's hilarious.
You're gonna have to send.
I'll send you a link after. But he basically he very melon-tone sings all these songs, these popular songs, but it's now being
he's an older guy. He has a really deep voice.
Being cut into all these other videos too. It's hilarious.
It's very funny. Yeah, it's a good trend.
Yeah. Yep. That's me. Where can they find you?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at @theFakeBMar, that's BMARR. Like I said earlier, I mostly tweet about sports and House of the Dragon at this point. That's the main thing. I had one tweet blowing up from the last episode. So yeah, follow me there. You can follow the channel on Twitter at WG Everything, Instagram Wicked Good Everything, Twitch at twitch.tv/Wicked Good Everything, TikTok, search Wicked Good Everything. You can also search Wicked Good Sports. I'm on Wicked Good Sports almost every day. Just did an Arsenal. We have Arsenal specific show on that channel now called The Way West Stand. I'm getting into soccer. My cousin Red is a huge Arsenal fan, so he's brought me there. He's introduced me to the culture, which is very fun. And then other than that, we cover the Celtics and the Bruins, and then the Dolphins and the Saints, and then just general sports stuff as well. And yeah, thank you so much for getting us to 100 subscribers. 2 days before that, they took away the custom URL thing, and they're going to replace it with something else. So we'll see if we get Better Radio, because there's another Better Radio channel now, of course.
This is all your fault for not giving us 2 subscribers before that. So just know that. If you're still listening, this is your fault.
It's not on us for making content that makes people want to subscribe more. It's you guys for
Correct.
not telling other people to subscribe. But yeah, other than that, off of the back of that, thanks so much for listening. And Dylan, thanks so much for coming on, talking Survivor with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Can't wait. And also, we can yell about DC movies sucking again next week on Make a Good Show. So look out for that too, because they suck again. By the way,
we're back.
Yes,
we're back. Yeah,
the country's healing.
I saw the reviews for the latest one. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Not that surprised, if I'm being honest.
No.
Yeah,
WB finally got rid of the guy that was helming DC. So thank God.
Finally. All right. Bye, everyone.
See ya. Bye.